Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Crafts with John. Oh boy, it's YOLO time, isn't it? Actually, I'm just noticing that my screen is actually wrong. I didn't put yesterday's totals up there. So yesterday we had won. What was yesterday's win? Yesterday's win was another $7,000. So that total's actually $74,000. So my mistake, my not getting that up in time for the show today. But we're going to YOLO today, and I'm honestly a little nervous this morning. Here's what we're going to do. And again, we'll look at our rack. Our YOLO rack is this. We've got our initial 20K. I'm not getting rid of that, right? Remember, the reds represent 5,000 right now because I'm out of other chips. Here's 32,000. We're going to go 32,000 across like before. Okay, each of these inside numbers, of course, like when you're playing $5 across, when you're playing 5,000 across, they pay 7,000, i.e. $5. And the outsides, of course, will pay 10. Now, what I'm going to do today is double park the inside numbers. I've got enough money in here to double park these numbers. What that's going to look like is this. I'm going to do one of them so you can see how this looks here. So let's take this $5,000. I'm going to break it down like this. I'm going to take this 5,000 for the 8. I'm going to break it down into 4 yellows, $4,000, and 2 purples. And what I'm going to do is ask my dealer to put me on the 8 for $500, which acts like a come bet, just without going through the come. So put me here at 500 and give me 4,500 in odds. You can do this at most casinos. My local casinos will let us do it. We have a $500 minimum here in Washington in most casinos, but we can double park, which means I can be at table max here and table max on a come bet that would have traveled there. And you can essentially get a double bet on the number. Some casinos won't allow that. Some casinos will say it's $500 max, whatever, to a number. My locals have $500 max per bet. So I can do this move here, which is pretty cool. Of course, your flat bet plays 1-to-1. Your odds on the 6 or the 8, those odds back here, 4,500 is going to pay 5,400. So this is $5,900 bet should this win. So it's a way to kind of double dip here. So the 6 will work the same way as the 8. I'll do the 5 and the 9 as well. They're going to be the same essential bet, right? They're going to be, so let me just do one for you so you can see how it looks on the table. Same thing though, we're going to have a $500 flat and 4,500 in odds. The 4,500 in odds on the 5 and 9, those are going to pay $6,750. Should we get a 5 or a 9, those are $6,750. In here, it's $5,400 plus your flat. So that's going to be our double parking lesson for the day. We can do this with a come bet, bypassing the come and put me to a number, and then jack a bunch of odds on it. That's definitely a thing you can do called double parking. We're going to do it today. What it does for me, it gets me lots of extra action on the inside. We get an inside number. We get basically a double hit, which is awesome. However, my rack only has my initial 20,000 plus $2,075. So if we get whacked right here, we're getting freaking whacked. This is like the most nervous I've been because this is going to be an enormous roll for us here if it comes out. But if we end up, not doing so well on this roll, it's going to be a problem. So here we go. That's your put bet lesson for the day. It's called double parking to a number. If you can get it, we're going to go ahead and roll with it. Here we go. The shooter has the dice. Again, we're walking up to our table. Let's assume the point's 10. We don't care what the point is. We just walked up and dropped our profits on some megabucks win or something else on the table. And here we go. Let's see if we can't make this thing happen for ourselves. Here come the dice from the shooter. It is a 4-1-5. Whew. I'm telling you what, man. I'm literally, my hands are sweaty in these morning shows doing this every day. So the 4-1-5 gets paid like this. The 5 in the front, the flat bet, regular old 5, that gets $7,000. Okay, 5,000 pays 7,000. And again, in the back, what we get here on the back, and again, if I do the 5, like the 9, I'll just leave it here so you can see how this pays. The flat bet, of course, gets paid 1-to-1, $500, and those odds, the 4,500 in odds, gets paid $6,750. So 5,000, 6,000, 750. I'll lay that out for you in a second here. There it is. There's $6,750 for those odds. So that's a pretty good win in total. It's 7,000 plus 6,750. That's 13,000 and $13,550 on the win on the 5 today, thanks to the magic what's called double parking, which again, not every casino allows, but if your casino does it and you have a tiny minimum like we do here in Washington, you can double park a number and get double the action. You got to be ballsy to do this. It's not the thing I'd recommend you just run out there and do, but in a situation like this where you're crushing it like that, that's what you want to do. So there it is. There's your YOLO for this morning. Let me go ahead and clean all this mess up, and we'll get started with today's session here. Let me get all this in the rack, and we'll go back and I'll make this mess look nice for tomorrow mornings. And tomorrow morning might be our last YOLO. With that big ass win right there, we might be in a spot tomorrow where we could hit our 100K with a good roll. I think we're within one roll distance of getting to goal, and then and we'll start a new series. So, man, I'm over here like I'm not joking with you. I'm literally like shaking. My hands are shaking because it's fake money and all that kind of stuff, and it's like we're so damn close to it. I'm nervous, right? But tomorrow I think we're gonna be at 74 plus the 13. That's 84. It's $89,000. We should be able to do it in one more hit without risking my entire bankroll. So now we're in a spot where I can risk a little bit less to get to my goal. I'll do some math over here. We'll get that figured out. So there it is. There's your YOLO for this morning. So how is everybody? We have a lot to do today. I actually was going to just go out there and play a little bit, but I got talking to somebody on the phone yesterday, and it sparked something in my brain that I wanted to kind of share and talk with you all about. So I think we're going to do more of a lecture today. We'll do some rolling, but I got some things to talk about. Let's jump into our morning announcements here and get through what's happening. So first things first is tomorrow. I spelled early wrong. What an idiot. Tomorrow, early or a delayed start for this show. I'm not sure what time it's going to be. I've got a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is what time it is right now. So I've got a meeting. It's probably going to go a couple of hours, I think. It's a presentation that I'm a part of. So can't do the show tomorrow at regular time. I could go at 7 and stop at 8, which backs it up an hour for everybody on the West Coast, and it puts it an hour earlier at 10 o'clock in the morning for you on the East Coast. That may or may not work for everybody. Or I could go later. We can go at like 11, which puts it more after lunch for the East Coast folks and middle of the day for us here. So if you would, drop me a note either in chat, or over in the Discord. Let me know what you think works best for you tomorrow. We could skip tomorrow's show completely. I don't really care what you all decide. I'll work around your schedules too. There's 40 of you and one of me. So I'm pretty flexible. Just that window that we've got, our normal window is just not going to be available. So with that said, also going on, Craps Chat's been moved to May 15th. Jeff wanted me to let you know that. A lot of things going on. We have, you all know, I'm sure, Dylan from Skill and Luck is having his second procedure on Friday, which makes a lot of things tough, right? We don't want to, necessarily do a show without him on Sunday, right? He's got to recover. So we're not going to do it this Sunday and have Dylan not be a part of that. Next Sunday, of course, then is Mother's Day. So there's 2 weeks in a row where it's just not good for the show to do it either week. So that's that. And again, ahead of time, thoughts and prayers for Dylan over there as he goes through the procedure this coming week. I think it's going to be a good one. He's doing a second stent, which, for all intents and purposes, opens up all the pathways, right? And that should make everything flow better, and he should be feeling a ton better, hopefully, after that. So there's that. What else is happening? Live Fantasy Craps tomorrow night. Arnell has put a post out in Discord as well as in Skype. If you're interested in playing Live Fantasy Craps, jump in there. He'll put the link out there probably tomorrow, and then you can jump in and play live. We broadcast Live Fantasy Craps here on Casino Gaming TV, so jump into that if you want to. Craps Master Journey Joe is in the middle of a really good series of building a strategy from the ground up, and the way he's testing it's really kind of cool. So get on Joe's channel, and the other guys who are doing work, let me know your work, and I'll add it to the list here so folks don't forget. But yeah, check out Joe's channel, Craps Master Journey. He's doing good things. Chris from Dice DGen, by the way, put out a great video yesterday. Him and Jeff were both they were sharing some stories about some just shitty dealers and shitty players and just craziness at the craps tables, and they both told these funny stories. Jeff's story, not so funny. Jeff's story, I might have flipped that table if I was there. That really I was getting mad. I've heard him tell the story before, and when he told it again, I was like, my God, how did you even stay at that table? crazy town over there. But those two had great videos. So if you get a chance, watch Jeff and watch Chris from Dice Degen. Their videos are pretty funny from yesterday with their trip reports. I need some beta testers for my app. So if you're interested in beta testing the Gambler Finder app that I showed yesterday, the location app, let me know in chat, or let me know better in Discord. Just drop me a DM in Discord, and we'll do a beta test where we'll all just get in there at one point and just try the thing out and see if the database works like I think it's going to work. Let me know if you're into that. And I'd love to do it this week if we can before I start putting more effort and time into the styling. I want to make sure that the nuts and bolts work. So if you want to beta test, get to Discord and DM me in Discord and let me know. Cool. All right, so that's the morning announcements. Let's go and take a trip down this lane. I want to talk with you about streaks again. So we talk about streaks all the time. It's one of my favorite ways to bet, or my favorite things to talk about. That's why I do a lot of things like the paroli system or the 1-3-2-4 progression system. I like those kind of plays because craps is a very streaky game. And what I want to talk about with regards to streaks is this concept of variance. And I don't want to get into a whole math lesson with you, but I'm going to show you a couple of things that I think will hopefully make this term make sense, and maybe we can find some ways to, I don't want to say capitalize on it, but be aware of it in the moment. So let's define a couple of things. And by the way, there's better videos on this topic than what I'm doing right here. I'm not a mathematician, but there's guys that have great videos. I'll link them in the description that you can watch later on that really explain how variance works mathematically and how it works in gambling across different games. But for our purposes here, variance is defined as the deviation from the expected outcome. That's all that it is. It's when we see those spikes, and I'll show you some win craps here in a minute, the spikes that we see, the peaks and valleys, that's variance. It's you expect it to be here, but it's really kind of here most of the time. And that's what variance is. A trend, or what I call a streak. People get really mad when I use the word trends, but trends or streaks are moments of variance. Moments of, I would say, intense variance is a better way of even saying it. When you see the big spikes or the big valleys in an outcome series, that's a trend. That's a streak. That's a 5 in a row. That shouldn't happen, but it does. It happens all the time. Those are the things that I want to talk about later today. But over time, there is no variance. And this is where the casinos make their money, right? Over time, we say time heals all wounds. If you're the house, time heals all wounds because the house has the edge on every bet. So they don't care about variance like you and I do. You and I experience variance, as it says here, in the moment, right? When you're in a moment of variance, you're getting 5 in a row or 5 in a row, you're experiencing it in real time. The casinos don't care about real time because they have the edge. So over time, when variance levels out, they don't care about it. They're okay with you winning a bunch because they know you're going to lose a bunch, and they know there's going to be areas of chop. They're going to make money all the time because they don't deal in the world of variance because they have time on their sides. Okay, they have an edge and we don't. We experience variance in the moment, right? And it's your job as a gambler to either seize that moment or leave that moment. Remember that, seize it or leave it. That's a really important thing. And I think that your money matters, right? I think we manage your money smartly in those moments, right? Things will turn out in your favor. And I was talking to somebody who experienced this in real time, and that's what got me going here on this topic was you have this idea of, okay, we're gonna do a thing, and it's gonna take this amount of time, or over the course of this many whatever rolls or whatever thing you're counting is, you know that, and I'll show you in win craps, you can start at 1,000 and you can end at 1,200 almost every single time. That's great, right? But in the play, during the play time, you're here and you're here, and you're here and you're here, and you're up and you're down, and you have these little chops and you're up and you're down. And although at the end of 1,000,000 rolls, you end up ahead most of the time, during the 1,000,000 rolls, there's periods of time where you're way up and way down. That's the variance. And you gotta learn how to play and be in the moment when that's happening. So that's kind of what I want to get into here next. And again, variance, we define it as the deviation from an expected outcome. And what that means is simply this. we'll use, and everybody has the same example, right? The coin flip, 50-50 coin flip, right? You expect 50-50, right? Every time you flip a chip like I've got here, flip a coin, it's definitely a 50-50 shot every single time. The casino makes money because if you were to bet $1 on heads every time and you won $1 every time, nobody'd make any money. That's edgeless. If the casino said we pay $1.10 on heads instead of $1 on heads, right? A little 10% house edge to it. Now it's an unfair game. That's how the casinos make money. Over 1,000 flips of the coin, they're going to make 10 cents on whatever on every head. 500 times they're going to make 10 cents. Over billions and billions of outcomes, they make money. That's how casinos work. We live in not that world. We live in this world of, well, okay, fine. I'll bet the tails, right? I'll bet more to win less on tails because I know that there's going to be times where tails comes 15 times in a row, right? That's live variance, right? The closer you get to infinity, the closer you get, the more rolls you run, the closer you get to the expected outcome, right? If I were to flip the coin one time, 50-50 shot, right? If I flip it 10 times, you might get, I don't know, you might get 4 or 5 in a row. But if I roll it 1,000 times, you might be at 502 to 498, right? You're really close to the expected outcome the more you get. When I get to 100,000, it's 999 to, 999, whatever, to 1,001. The more you get closer, the variance works itself out. The math always works in the end, right? That's your lifetime at the casino. That's the casino's every day, right? The casino lives in that world. You live in that world too. You just don't know it, right? You live in that world over the course of your entire life of playing. You will not experience variance. If you add up your first time ever in the casino to the day you drop dead, you'll probably have not any variance. You'll be at expected outcome, believe it or not. But when you're there, right? When you're there, if you break that 1,000, that's 502 to 498 into sessions of 10, into 100 sessions of 10 rolls, right? Think about 10 rolls of 10 flips of the coin, 10 flips of the chip as a session. How many times will it be 5 out of 5? 5 and 5, 5 heads, 5 tails, right? Out of 10 sessions or 100 sessions of 10, maybe 10-15% of those will be even Steven, where it's 5 and 5, 5 heads, 5 tails. The rest of them will be 6 to 4, 7 to 3, 3 to 7, 2 to 9, whatever, right? You're going to have all over the place. That, my friends, is variance. All those sessions of 10 where it's not 50-50, that's when you're at the casino. That's the day. You're there, you got your chips on the table, you're making your bets, and you're in a 6 to 4 like yesterday. Yesterday was actually in a 7 to 3 variant, down with the don't pass, right? We won our don't pass 7 out of 10 times, which doesn't normally happen. That's an odd variant there, right? It could have been the other way. Last week I was in a variant where our pass line player won every single day. We had great outcomes, right? I was in a really ugly don't pass variant, but a really positive pass line variant. But it was a short-term window. We were here for this long, right? I was here for this long. It seemed like long because I wouldn't shut up, but it's a short period of time in the aggregate, if you look at it that way. So I experienced variance the last couple of sessions, last week and yesterday, because we're looking at these little windows, not looking at our enormous window. And when you're in the middle of playing an enormous window, if you're in a 4, 5, 6 hour session, and I'll use the Atlantic City trip that we were just on as a good example. We were in a long session. We experienced variance. Even in that long session, we had a couple of really great rolls, but there were times, there were guys that came out there and beat you 4 or 5 times in a row before the next variant showed up. Okay, so it's a real thing. It's like I said, it's how the casinos make their money. It's also how we can make our money. So I want you to work your session, okay, and just be in the moment. Be in the moment. Be aware that, when you have an advantage, right? We want to make sure that we're cognizant of this, right? A lot of math folks say there's no such thing as money management. It helps you none. Okay. I don't know. I guess I understand why they say that, but the truth of the matter is this. If you set a win goal, if you have a loss limit and you're willing to get out when the getting's good or bad, right? That amount of discipline can help you ride the variant wave, when you're on it and get off of it when it starts to crash, okay? You wanna bet more when you're advantaged. Bet less or get off or get out when you're not advantaged, okay? And you ride that wave until it crashes. That's the way you work this thing. When I talk about money management and trends and discipline in my rack, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the variant in the game, right? As a hedge better, if I'm doing the hedge thing or the hybrid thing, I'm riding it. I'm riding the wave, looking for the variant, boom, get that spike and get out, right? If you're playing the hybrid game, that's what you're doing. You're willing to tread water and lose a little bit of money, right? In that moment, waiting for the big one, right? That's an okay way to play. If you're gonna play don't pass, for example, I'll give you an example on the don't pass in a minute, but don't pass, for example, when you have the advantaged play, that's the time to go in, right? If you knew the coin, right, was going to land on one or the other more often, you'd probably bet heavier on that one if you knew it, right? There are times in the game where you know that. Craps is a game where it's a negative expectation most of the time, but there are times where it's not negative expectation. So let's talk about that at the table. All right, let me go over here and get you to win craps. I want to show you one thing, just a quick example that I did yesterday so you can see. Again, I like to dial in where I can see it. Hopefully you all can see this. Let me switch to that screen view there. And here's a simple set, right? I'm doing a don't pass only bet. This player over here is just betting the don't. This other player here is betting my don't pass, which is basically a don't pass and a don't come with a little bit of odds protection. I'm just gonna run this out real quick and give you a quick look at length of time and what that variance looks like. I don't know if we're gonna win or lose here. Let's just see what happens. And I'll stop this at a point, but you're looking for this. We're gonna start out here, if you can see my mouse, at this 100,000 or this $1,000 mark, and you're gonna watch the trend of this shooter. Here we go. Let's start the hyperdrive and see what happens. I'm gonna stop it right in a minute here. We'll stop it right there. Okay, stop. I stopped it perfectly. Take a look at where we are. Okay, this is variance at work, or non-variance at work, as it were. We started out with $1,000 bankroll, right? We currently have 950. Our best was 1150. This is a straight, flat, ugly ass don't pass, right? No odds, no progression, just $25 don't over and over and over again. Look at how the casino sees it, right? The casino sees no variance. At the end of the day, they're down 50 bucks on you. If you played this thing as we just did here, how many rolls did I get? I got 505 rolls. That's about 5 hours of play, roughly, right? They lost, in this case, an aggregate of 50 bucks. They don't care about the 50 bucks, right? Because they know that later on they're gonna win. There was times in here where they were down. If we stopped the thing over here, they would have won more money. You, at some point though, had lost a little bit. You can see your total, if I do a control S here, if you can see your totals here, I'm circling it there. At some point you were down to 725, and at some point you were up to 1150. Not a lot of variance, but if you actually zoom into this thing, let's zoom in. Let's go a little bit deeper into here. And let me get that thing off. There we go. Whoop, scale back this way. Look at that. We get into here and look at the variance when you get closer in. So here's where, if you look at this first set of rolls in here, again, this is roll 1 to 525. This first section, let me do that again. I'm gonna change my color too so you can see red, there we go. Look in here, look at right here. You have a variant right out of the gate, right? We come out of the gate here with probably 10 wins in a row, right? Over the course of 500 rolls, right? And I'll show you the actual numbers here in a minute. Over the course of 500 rolls, we probably lost, I'm gonna guess, somewhere in the order of 220 or 230 of them. But there's that where you won a bunch in a row. There's this bad sequence in here where we got our ass kicked. Another variant. The don't pass loses 10, 11, 12 in a row in here, okay? These are the moments where you walked up, won some money, and got out. You walked in, let's say you walked in right here, and you went right down in the shitter. You gotta be smart enough to get out of there. You gotta say, I'm done. I gotta walk, or I gotta change, right? When you're in a variant that looks like this, or looks like this, or looks like that, or trending back upwards again, like you are over here, that's where you change tactics or change your bet amounts. And that's, I want you to start thinking about what are you gonna do in those moments. Now again, here, we're don't pass straight up. This chart would look the exact same if it was pass line. It wouldn't look any different at all if it was pass line, or if it was just 6 or just 8, okay? On those basic house edge kind of bets, you're gonna see it looked like this. Let's take a look actually here. Let's go back over here. I want to show you the totals, the summaries of this rollout. So this rollout here, again, this is 500 rolls, so it's not a huge sample size. Let me get this thing if I can make it bigger. We had 136 total points set. We won 55 and we lost 61. We tied 19 times, okay? Which means outcomes were even in our favor. We had 29 times, we only had one win in a row. We had 13 times with two. Our paroli would have hit 8 times at a 130. Good to know, right? And that's actually a pretty stable percentage to look at. The paroli hitting 8 times at a 130 is actually about right. It's about a 10% or so-ish time that you hit that. You should know that. There were a couple of big ones in here too. And I also track the consecutive losses as well. We had 35 times with 1 loss, 16 times where you lost twice in a row, 8 times where you lost 3 or 4 in a row at a 130. So there's your aggregates. This is, again, a way that I use win craps. Again, it's a short window. It's 500 rolls. It's not enough to give you any kind of statistical anything, really, other than, let's go back to the keynote here, other than to give you an idea of starting point to ending point. If you look at only the start and the end and say, oh, my strategy is great. Over 500 rolls, I only lost $50. A lot of people do that. They'll run the strategy and win craps, get 1,000,000 rolls and go, great. From start to end, I won $50. That's a great strategy. But you're not looking at how many spikes and valleys there are and how deep the valleys are and how tall the spikes are. How volatile is your strategy? When I look at win craps, and let me go back there again because I think it's important to see. When I go to win craps and I look at this, I want to get a sense of overall volatility. How big and short or how big and deep are my peaks and valleys tells me a lot about the strategy that I'm playing, right? If you want high volatility is the way to win, right? Low volatility is the way to stay even or lose less. So flat bet on the don't, you're not going to vary much. You're going to be up 100, down 100 most of the time. Flat bet in the don't with a max odds, way bigger variance. Right? If we look at the other player that was playing with 2 bets, if I can get him to show up here, I'm not sure I can. I don't know why this thing won't. It's locked. Why is it locked? I locked myself up. Let's go back over to here again. I'm not sure what happened there. But I can't get into, let's go back to this. And then back to that, see if I can't do it now. Can I lock in there now? There we go. Okay, sorry about this, guys. I'm going to switch screens again. There we go. So this player who's playing don't pass and a don't come versus the player who played the don't pass only experienced the same rolls in different ways, right? A little bit more volatility for one player versus the other. Just be aware of that. When you look at large sample sizes like this, a large sample size will always give you the 2 endpoints. You got to dive in and see how volatile is it. At this point, you've hit your loss limit a bunch of times before you got out of it, right? Are you in and out? That's the question you have to ask yourself as you're playing kind of this way. So there we go. That's your lecture this morning. I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't planning on doing a lecture today, but last night I got to talking. I'm like, you know what? We're going to talk about this because when you experience a long series and you're going to be up and down, you're in that variant flow and you've got to understand how to get in and get out and recognize where you are. So all that said, I know it's been a long time talking. Let's go play some craps. I'm going to the table here. And I'm going to play it today. Oh, we don't need those guys. I want to do what we did yesterday. I want to do some more basic don't play. But somebody got mad at me yesterday and said, stop playing at such a high level, right? When would you ever do this? I think it was James Newberry. When would you ever do this at a casino? Well, yesterday, of course, I played 4 bankrolls and they weren't that high. We were at $500 in the bankrolls yesterday. My bet sizes got high because one of the players, remember the guy in the corner yesterday, lost like 4 in a row. We lost 4 don'ts in a row. He got whacked on the come out 3 times and got a point hit. And his ladder was up to like $100. And I parlayed it to 200 and I parlayed that to 400 and let it sit there and we won. And he's like, you'd never play that way. I'm like, well, if you're playing the system, you play the system and you're looking for the variant. And that's what I was trying to do yesterday, looking for the variant. And that's where the paroli or the regular progression, those things execute well in the variant. So whether it's $25 chips or whether it's $5 chips, and here I've got a $155 bankroll today, right? It doesn't matter what these are. If they're red or if they're green or if they're black, it doesn't matter. It matters not. It matters in your bank account, right? But at the table, I'm winning numbers of checks. I'm not winning dollars. You got to think of it that way. If you're buying in for this, which is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 checks, you have 30 shots at something, whether it's $5 checks, because that's what you make, that's what you can afford, right? Or it's $500 checks like I was doing out here earlier today because that's what you make, that's what you can afford. Doesn't matter. Level doesn't matter. Approach matters. What's happening at the table matters. So let's go ahead and do it again. And again, it doesn't matter what we do. We can do pass line today. Actually, what I'll do, let's switch out the dice and let's actually talk about a do-we-don't system. Let's go back to basics, right? Let's say you're predisposed to be a don't pass player. Let's say you're predisposed to play the don't, but you don't like that come out roll. You don't like losing on the 7 or 11, you can play the pass line. That's a way to get past it, right? You can ignore the come out roll. The advantage is you get to a number like the 8, it doesn't matter what the number is. And now your only way to make money is here, right? You got to drop odds out there now to make some money on that guy. Because you lost the power of your flat bet. But what I said before about knowing the way that casinos make money here, when you have an advantage is when you need to bet. Do you have an advantage right now on this bet? You do. This bet has an advantage over that bet. The 7's better than the 8. Matter of fact, this bet here, let's take the don't pass out of it, or the pass, this bet here, once the puck is on, has a pretty high win rate, right? You got a 66% chance of beating a 4 or a 10. You got a 40% chance of beating the 5 or the 9, and a 45 to 48% chance, whatever, of beating the 6 or the 8, right? You're always advantaged once you have that number through. That's why taking odds on the don't is a great move, because you're advantaged. And Greg has said this before, it's the only bet in the whole casino where when you have the advantage, you can stack more money on it. After you know you have the advantage, you can go, let me throw some more money out there and really take advantage of it. So the do-we-don't with odds on the don't, great way to play, right? A lot of guys, there's books written about playing this exact way. Do-we-don't with odds on the don't. Or a do-we-don't where the 6 and the 8 come and you're back here and you're just picking your odds. You're basically playing for your whole game is to take free odds or lay free odds. And that's it, right? Where you're being sort of aware of the variant strain that you're in now. So the do-we-don't is a way to do that. And I think it's kind of an interesting, smart way to play if you're allowed to. I'm not allowed to. So I'm going to not do it. I always say this, my casinos don't allow that. So we're just not going to do it here. But it's a good way to sniff a trend out, right? You can sit here and go do-we-don't all day long and wait for a trend to emerge and then hop, right? Wait. You see 2 points in a row, you're back here in odds. You see 2 7s in a row, you're here on the don't. And you can ignore the come out and say, I'm just gonna forego the come out. I'm gonna hedge myself to oblivion here, give up potential wins so that I can attack here or here based on what I see. So with that said, let's play. Let's just do some don't pass. I'll do some don't pass at $5. We're gonna do a simple progression. I'm going to just do a little, maybe I'll do like a 1, 3, 2, trying for that 3. I'll put two units at risk the entire time. It's the same as the paroli in the end. You end up making a bunch of money in the end, but let's do that. And if the table starts to shift a little bit, maybe we'll go to the pass line. We'll see. There's an 8 for our first point. Puck will be to the 8. And again, I'm not going to take odds yet. I'm going to sniff this out and see, although we are advantaged right now, let's just take our wins back here. Let's do a straight flat progression for a few minutes. And we've got a 5, 1, 6. Get some more coffee. Oh, both dice out there. We dropped them. That was ugly. Okay, here we go. Dice are out. There's the 7. 5, 2, 7. So We get paid a nickel. Paroli says, press it. My aggressive 132 says, power press it, right? So you're gonna parlay your win. I'm gonna power press from my rack. We're gonna get 3 units out there because again, trying to hop into one of those little trends. I like this progression because I can take money back after 2 hits. The paroli, I've got to wait till hit 3. And if we actually do this side by side, I'll show you what I'll do it from the bank here. The paroli guy at this point, and we'll simulate a payment here just so you can see. The paroli guy, if we win, gets paid 2 and stacks the 4. If this guy wins, he wins 3. He regresses to 2 and brings back profit on roll 2. So the paroli needs that 3rd hit to get anything back. This guy here, although he has more risk, is going to profit on the 2nd roll. So that's why I prefer that over the paroli, but it's the same essential thing. At the end of the day, you want 3 in a row to win money. Here we go, coming out. There's a 6 and a 4. That's a 10. There's our new point. And again, we're in an advantaged position here. Once you beat the come out and you know your advantage, you can add more and take advantage of that. Here we go. 6-5 yo. There's a hard 10. So it didn't work out for us that time. We're out and we're down. Now, yesterday I played this where we chased that loss. Today I'm not going to chase the loss. We're just going to try it again. We're just going to keep trying it over and over again until we get 3 in a row. Okay, that time we had 1 in a row, which is what we saw on WinCraps actually. Most of the time, it's 1 in a row. There's a 9. 6 and a 3. That's a 9. We're back to our base level bet. I'm not progressing the base bets based on anything. You could progress the base bet up or down after a certain number of outcomes if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to play it straight up. There's an 11. There's a 5-3 easy 8. There's a hard 8, 4-4 square pair. 3 and a 2, it's a 5, sister to the 9. There's aces. And there's the 7, the 6 and a 1 for 7. And again, we'll take our win, we'll power press it up, and we'll come out again. Here we go. So far, the table's been a little choppy. Here we go again, the 6-1-7. Now, interesting case here, right? We'll lose that again. So twice in a row, we've lost 2 units, which sucks. Because again, it's 2 units out of our rack, so we're down 4. And we got a 7, we lost the don't pass. And you say, God, this table's turning. Is it a right side table? Is it a dark side table? What is it? Well, you've had 2 7s pretty close, right? We only rolled about 15 rolls here, and I've seen 3 7s already. So to me, it's still a cold running table in terms of we're seeing the number that we want. We're not seeing it in the rhythm we want to see it, right? So we're off rhythm right now with the table, and we're in a downward trend, right? If you look at that chart I showed you, we're in one of those trends where our variance right now is negative variance on that bet. We're in a downward trend. We have to switch. We got to make a quick switch and to see if that negative variance is going to continue. Are we going to be in one of those ugly downswings, or are we about to pick out of it? Let's see what happens. Let's just take a quick little switch over here and move over and not play into the downward trend. Let's just for fun, let's just see what happens, right? We get to an 8. And that move that I just made right there could be seen as really smart. Like, hey, we're reading the table perfectly and we're going to be down here and betting what's coming, right? Betting with the trend. Or it can be seen as really stupid and saying, well, you stick with your plan, right? And ride that thing out. But again, can your bankroll withstand you riding that thing out? We'll talk about the bankroll here in a minute. But again, if you think about the table in terms of those spikes, those valleys, if you're in a valley, you either got to leave or you got to play with the valley. And there's an 8. So we picked it right that time. We got lucky, right? And again, we'll take our pass line win. We're going to bump it up. Press it out. Here we go. Let's come out. There's a 5-2-7 on the come out, which pays 3. So 1 chip. We got paid 1. We power pressed 1. We got paid 3. We're going to regress down to 2. Go back to our rack. Now we're still not even in our rack. If I pulled those back, we're even. We have 3 chips in the front. We've evened up, but we're not done yet. We have to still get that thing to pay off its 3rd time in a row. We're back on the 8, a 6 and a 2. Let's get that 2 to pay off if we can do it here. Let's hopefully, there it is, a 5, 3, 8. So it did. So the 1, 3, 2 worked. We hit 3 in a row. And technically speaking, the don't pass player would have experienced 6 losses in a row there, right? Between the point getting hit, the come outs, right? I think there was 2 come out 7, I forget now. There was 1 come out 7 for sure and a point being hit, followed by 3 wins down here. 5 in a row losses for the don't pass player right there. It's a terrible place to be. We ended up here with a teeny tiny bit of profit by jumping ship, right? Maybe it was a scared move to do that, but maybe it's a move where you're looking at that variant chart, and again, it's burned into my brain, seeing those spikes and valleys in here. I felt like we were in a valley, and it was time to either leave the casino because my strategy wasn't going to be copacetic with what was happening, or flipping the table and saying, well, that negative variant for me is a positive variant for this guy, and let's go ahead and jump onto the positive side of it while we have a chance to. And it turns out that it paid off for us to do that, okay? That puck is off. New shooter's gonna come out. We don't know what's gonna happen now, okay? Let's keep it rolling. I'm gonna stay where I am for now, and we'll see if we can't ride this a little further, but I'm gonna restart the system, okay? I could restart it at 2, and my new 1 level is 2 chips. We can do that. We can say, hey, we're really on it right now. Let's do this. Let's go out there and go out a little stronger with that bet. And we get a 5 and a 1 for our next point. Now, if we hit this point, you'll see when I power press up, it's gonna be a much bigger power press if we can stay in rhythm. And there's a 5, 1, 6. We hit the point immediately. We hit 2. We get paid 2 chips. And I'm gonna power press it to 2. That gives us a 1 unit bet to start with, a 3 unit bet at round 2. I'm actually gonna put these side by side. It's the same bet, but I just want you to see that we've leveled up to level 3 here. We're off. Let's come out. And there's a 6-5 yo, which is freaking amazing, right? So that's gonna pay 30 bucks. I'm just gonna pay it straight up like this. 30 bucks. Each one of those pays 1, and we're gonna reduce back down 1 to 3 to 2. We regress back down. We're guaranteed profit. Now here we are, 150 in, 30 in profit, 20 on the felt. If I pull that 20 back, I've got 50 bucks in profit from a $150 starting point. I'm getting there, right? I think that's actually 50 into 150. That's more than 20% in my book. That's about 33%. That's actually goal, right? Here you are, you're at goal, right? Again, I'm trying to add in my head, but that to me meets goal. We've actually hit the streak twice in a row. If you think about the win crap streak that we're on right now, that spike is boom, 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 boom. It's one of those amazing runs that you just don't see, okay? We can stay out here with our 4 unit bet, our 2, and try and hit it one more time, complete the cycle. But either way, we got goal as I look at it, okay? 150 winning 30, that's your goal. There's a 6, 2, that's an 8, and we're on it. And there's the hard 8. We are just rolling, we're rolling stink eyes today, man. Boom, boom. Now, what I do here is this. We're gonna pull this back. There's your profit. Now, if you look at your actual stack, money management, 150 to start, there's 25, there's 50. So I brought in 50 bucks, locked up, guaranteed 50 bucks. That's what I've got in my rack. $50 as a guaranteed go home, right? That's money management and discipline at work. I'm locking, I'm never going back. Me, John, going to the casino, looking to build my bank account, I'm never going back with this money. That's locked in for good. And in fact, what I've been doing recently in my rack is this. I'll show you how I take all the lammers out of here as a reminder that this entire front section here, that whole thing is starting bankroll. This whole thing is profit. And I'm just gonna do nothing but add to my profit stack. Now, last time when I won, I increased my base bet. I went to 3 units. We went from 1 unit as a base to 2 units as a base. Now I'm at 3 units as a base. And again, we're still in the positive trend. 6 in a row is a huge variant, right? You're not going to see much more than 6 in a row almost ever. What do? Do I regress back down and short stack this thing? Play with a 4. If I go 3, my short stack, I don't have a whole lot of play in here. There's not a lot of options for me. If I go to 1, at least I've got a chance to go at it again. If I go to 2 and stay where I was, I can power press one more time. I'm going to do that. I'm going to stay there at 2, power press it one more time and see what happens. Here we go. Let's come out. That's a 4-4, hard 8, square pair. New subscriber of ours. His name is May the 4s be with you, which I think is fantastic. What a great handle for YouTube. But there we are. We're on the 8. There's a 6. Just staying flat bets here. Again, not worrying about the odds, not looking at the extra side stuff yet. I'm just looking at the trend of the table. There's a hard 10. A lot of hard ways being thrown today. There's a yo. A lot of yos too. 7 outs. We didn't get it. The trend ends. That wave has finally come down and crashed on us. So there it is. We've caught a trend. We made good money on it. And again, had we attacked the odds, had we done other things, you could have made more for sure, right? But we just did it nice and simple. Let's go and switch the dice out. Let's go to our cold green dice and repeat the process from the don't. And I want to talk about the don't pass with odds. Okay, let's go ahead and get this out of here. I'll reset my rack to 0 again. And now, of course, I've screwed up my thing, but let's go ahead and go out with a don't pass bet. And I'm going to do it at, again, the $5 level. We'll do a nice low bet here at $5. Let's come out with a new number. And it's going to be an 8. And let's talk about the advantage play, because right now, as I said, you've got the advantage. This is a point in time where I know the 8 is a scary number for the don't player, but this bet here, $6 in odds on that 8 is a great bet. You get to, again, stack on more when you got the advantage. And at the $5 level, not a big deal, right? If this was quarters, that's 30, right? If it's 100, that's 120. It's not like it's different ratio-wise, but if you're at a $5 table, you can totally do this. And you can level this up as you go. Again, put money out there when you have the advantage. This has got a better than 50% chance to win right now against that 8, right? The 8 has got, I think it's a 46% chance or whatever it is of showing before the 7. Now it's got to show a second time before the 7, which is hard to do. I did it before, I just did it now, right? We're rolling lots of inside numbers, so we get beat on it. But that's the best play you can make at that moment. We are in such a hot table. I've never seen my table get this hot. But let's do the don't again. So I want to keep talking about that don't pass advantage that we had. Look at that, 617. That's got to be minus the 1 loss that we had there. That's got to be 9. Is that 9 pass line winners? That's amazing. 9 pass line winners, I think we've had in this session. What an amazing trend. There's another one. I should just leave, right? This is the get the GTFO, right? Time to get out of here if you're a don't pass player, or time to switch up. I'm gonna keep at it though. I want to keep talking about that don't advantage as we get. Look at that, 6-5 yo. So what's happening here, right? If you're the don't pass player, right? What just happened? We lost on a 7. We lost on a point, lost on a 7, lost on a 7, lost on the yo. There's 4 negative outcomes for you back to back. I'm going to put those over here where you can see them. Okay, we got to go here. There we go. 4 negative outcomes in a row that we saw. 4 in a row. And I'm sorry, I guess you probably couldn't see my bets the whole time because they were behind the screen thing. 4 negative outcomes in a row for the don't pass player. Now, we talked about variance, and I said you experience variance in small chunks. In this small chunk of play, you got whacked 4 times. In the small chunk of play before for the right side player, he won 7 times or whatever it was. That's going to even out over time. And the casino doesn't care about this, but you sure as hell do. If you're out there playing the don'ts and you got this great system, you're like, hey, I got this figured out, right? We're going to do a don't and 2 don't comes and we're not going to lose. And then you lose 4 times in a row. You're experiencing that variance and it sucks in the moment. And in this moment, you got to make the decision. I just lost 4 times in a row. If I was playing straight don't the whole morning, our bankroll would be here with all those losses. We would have just gone down in flames. And at some point when you're in that negative variant, you got to get out. You got to either change up like we did or stop playing. You got to recognize that and do something completely different to get out of the variance or jump into the variance with both feet. So that's, I think, what I wanted to say. What time is it? We got time to roll a few more times or no? I want to see if we can break this trend or not. We got 4 or 5 minutes. Let's try and break the trend. Let's just be stubborn about it. Let's go back to the don't and be stubborn and try and break the trend. Let's see if we can't get out of this ugly sequence that we're in. It's a 4-2-6. That's a 6, not a 5. Sorry about that. There we go. We're on the 6 on that don't. And again, we're going to go ahead and be smart about it and take our odds where we can. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you a place where you can see the bets. I should have realized that. I'll be better tomorrow, I promise. So there's our don't. There's our odds. Again, it's an advantage play. When you have the advantage, even though we're rolling well, that's still the biggest advantage you've got. Stack it up when you can. And there's a 6. So once again, we hit the point, we lose, and we are, again, completely on the wrong side of history here. But I think it still serves the purpose of conversation here. That's 5 in a row. There's a 10, a 6-4, 10. Now we're going to get up in here. And again, still the right move to be here in the don't, right? It's the right move. You're at an advantage spot. The 7 beats the 10 most of the time. When else can you drop extra cash out there when you have the hammer? That's such a, and I say Greg points this out all the time. That's an important thing to remember. And there's our 4 and our 3. And so we get a little bit of juice for that. Doesn't recover all of our previous losses, but when math works out for you, it works out for you. Now, what you can think is going to happen here is we had all those pass line winners, right? Is the table going to come back? Is math going to work itself out to start getting don't pass players paid? And yeah, here's the aces. So from 9 wins to 2 losses to 2 wins in a row for a don't pass player with a come out, with a point loser and a come out winner for the don't. Right? Variance, the math will always, over time, over lots of trials, work itself through. And here's the 6-3-9. And again, we're in an advantage position. Right? We'll drop 3 to win 2. We could make it at a $5 table. You can go to 9. 9 to win 6 is fine, right? You want to keep it low roller status. This is like saying 90 to win 60. It's $9 to win $6, right? You got to always win table minimum here. Fine. You can work this $150 bankroll to death. Doesn't matter. Again, if they're reds or greens or blacks, I just don't care. 6-5, yo. There's these green dice, man. These green dice are cold as ice. There's a 6-1-7. And again, that's going to pay flat and 6. So we haven't reversed the trends. The math is correcting itself. And now you're back in one of those upswings. And we're probably back to even here. Of course, I didn't, when I reset my rack initially, I didn't put it back with the lammers. Let's go see where we are. Do a quick little chip count here. There's 100. There's a quarter. We're close. We're down $15, but we've got 10 over here. We're actually down $5. We're down $4, kind of white. So not bad, right? We battled back a little bit, again, because the math will reset. Variance will be overcome by time. Remember that sentence. Variance is always overcome by time. But in the moment, you got to win in that moment. You got to win in that moment. Let's go back to our presentation here. All right, win in the moment. That's my last words for you today. Okay, know your win goal, know your loss limit. The first player, we hit our win goal, right? Locked it up, and we played a little bit. Then we're done, right? When you're in an advantage position, i.e., the don't pass. Once you get a point established, you're advantaged. Bet more money. Odds make sense when you can get them out there. Don't go crazy with it. The don't pass is better, higher flat, lower odds. The pass line better with a lower flat and higher odds. They're kind of work opposite that way. But ride that wave while you can, if you can catch it. If you can catch the wave, ride it while you can. You saw in WinCraps, again, I can show you every strategy we ever have run, the same sort of spikes and valleys, right? They're gonna have those things when you're in that spike, and Jay talks about this all the time. When you're in the spike, bet the spike, right? He does a great job of pressing those outside numbers, right? Vince, a lot of his strategies are press, because you're working for 5, 6, 7 in a row. Work the groove when you're in the groove, right? That's an important way, I think, to win. So there you go, guys. I think that's it. I'm gonna run and look at the questions really quick to see if there's anything here that I need to address. Let's see. Bob is putting in a lot of math for me here, which is great. So I told you I'm not a math guy, right? I don't have a degree in math or anything else. I don't teach math, but I get it. And you're right, variance is not equal points resolved. And again, variance, I'm looking at the variance in terms of outcomes, right? It's the outcome result to me is that variant. And when I see the trends in an app like WinCraps, that's where my eyes go like this. Okay, look at what's actually happening on the table. I think it's an important thing for us to see. Let's look at any other notes in here, any PCs that I have to deal with. Units and dollar amounts make a difference. They do. All right, so there's a good point, OPC. The units make a difference if you're gonna regress, right? When you're at bottom, like I'm here at the bottom where I'm at the $5 level, I can't go, there's nowhere to run from there. But again, you're going in there with that low bankroll on purpose, right? You're not looking to regress. Typically my camera's off center. You're not looking to regress, you're looking to build at that low level. So that's just I think it's a mindset thing. Anyway, I think it's all. It's 9 o'clock, I gotta do work things. So with that said, thanks again for coming today. Tomorrow morning will be a lot less lecture, a lot more fun. We'll have some fun tomorrow. I got what I was gonna do today, we'll do tomorrow. I just don't know what time it's gonna be. So like I said, let me know. I'll go back to slide 1 here. Let me know either in chat, in the Discord, or by email, or whatever you want. I don't really care what tomorrow looks like for you. Earlier or later, we'll take a consensus here, and I'll figure out a time for the show. My guess is we're gonna go either at 7 a.m. or we're gonna go at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So before lunch or after lunch. So, all right, y'all have a good day. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, there's another question here. Would I say the pass line is better flat and more odds? Yes. So Dr. S, my opinion on this is this. Let me go to the table. Table zoom. Okay, let's go here. And let me answer your question exactly. I'm going to go to this side of the pass line. Let's go 5s and quarters here. So if you look at both bets independently, okay, the best payout you're going to get is there's 2 of them, right? On the pass line with a point of, let's say, a 6, doesn't matter what it is. If you can get odds behind the line, you can see the quarters, right? These odds back here, as you know, are free odds, right? That's 0 house edge bet. You're better off on the pass line with as low a bet as possible, like table minimum here, just to get, because this bet is garbage. On the 8, even up here, on a $6 8, you get paid $7. Down here, you get paid 1 to 1. That's a shit payout. We don't want that. You want this. You want more back here. On the don't, I would reverse that. The don't pass, I would put a quarter up there and table minimum odds, right? And again, you can put more odds if you bankroll supports it, but here, because you're betting more to win less, it's still free odds. This bet, 1 to 1 versus a number, is the best route payout you can get. So I like higher flats on the don't, lower flats on the pass. That's my general sense of sizing those bets. Low pass line, high odds. High don't pass, lower odds. That's the way I do it. So yes, the pass line, better, low bet, high odds. Pass line, flat bets like I was doing there, suck. I was doing it for ease and just to get you to kind of see the rhythm of the table. We could have won way more money, of course, with odds. There's no question about that. But again, I played it flat just to get the number of wins logged, not so much the number of dollars logged. I hope that makes sense. A lot of times in the morning like this, I'll do it that way on purpose. Because again, I spend most of my time counting wins, not counting dollars, if that makes sense. I think that's more important to me. How many times I win is more important. I can maximize my money later, but it's how often did my bets pay? And then I can look at what do I do with those bets. So there's that. All right, guys, I got to go. Work. It's Tuesday. Thanks again for joining. Love y'all. God bless everybody. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.